Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to the Unexplored Mojave. Here we can see a wind Brahmin hitting the car in front of me. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dropboxes in Fallout New Vegas. If you've ever played through Fallout New Vegas, you might or might not have noticed that there are 5 Dropboxes scattered around the map. And the player can use these Dropboxes to move any loot of their choosing, regardless of weight, regardless of value. And these drop boxes are operated by the Mojave Express, a post-war courier service that operates within the New California Republic. They are headquartered in the hub, which appears in the original Fallout, but they have an office in Primm. And in case you don't know, the player character, the courier, worked for the Mojave Express before, well, Benny shot him. Or her. And here you can see Primm on the world map. However, I highly doubt you need this map. And outside of the Mojave Express office, we can see Daniel Wyan, also known as Courier Number 4, was one of 6 couriers alongside you, hired to deliver odd packages to New Vegas. Inside of the office, we can find Nash. We'll also find Eddie here, unless you've repaired him like me. And in the corner, we can find our first Dropbox. And if you've not discovered any other Dropboxes, and these things are actually worthless if you only have one, you have to discover multiple of them to actually use them to deliver items to a different location. So let's go ahead and test it out, because I have discovered other Dropboxes, and I decided to test it out with my pistol, A Light in Shining Darkness, and I just decided to send it to Goodsprings because that's where I want to go next. And then using a quickly thrown together map of New Vegas, I decided to use the Twilight Princess Mailman as our symbol. We can see the location of our first Dropbox. And with that, we can make our way to Goodsprings, and the Dropbox here is really easy to access. It's just outside the Goodsprings General Store. And for me, it's a bit embarrassing because I didn't know about these Dropboxes until I started making this series, the Unexplored Mojave. So this Dropbox has literally been staring me in the face my entire time playing New Vegas for over the last 10 years. I never knew this system existed. Hopefully you don't need it, but here's the location of Goodsprings, and as we approach the Dropbox, we can see that its red flag is raised, indicating we have something in the box. We click Pick Up Items, and now we have our A Light in Shining Darkness safely delivered to us. And then we can see the second mailman on top of Goodsprings. And we can see these first 2 mailboxes are kind of close together. This is going to be something I bring up later in the video. And our next location is going to be Novac, another town that usually players go to towards the beginning of the game. So based on the location of these Dropboxes, I do think they're more intended for the early game to make it easier for the courier to transport any loot around, since, players might set up different houses as they start the game. And this system might make it easy for the player to move loot around as they progress further into the game. Here you can see the location of Novac. I highly doubt you need it, but here it is nonetheless. The Dropbox here is located inside of the motel's front office. Here you can see it, and by clicking on it, we will discover it. And here on the small map, we can see the location of the 3 Dropboxes so far. I think you can kind of see how it progresses with the player character. You start in Goodsprings, most people go to Primm, and then most people go to Novac. Easy to move your loot. And the next location is all the way in Freeside. And here we can see that this Dropbox is located right in the middle of Freeside, a very dangerous place and one of the poorest places in the Mojave. So why not put a Dropbox there? It is right outside the Mormon Fort and is just across the street from Mick and Ralph's Boy Crier. And here on the minimap, you can see the location of the Dropbox. Again, I doubt you really need it. And then if we just walk up to the Dropbox, we can activate it. And now we get to see a very clear picture of how these Dropbox locations were chosen. And once we see the final location, it really all comes together. But we have the 3 in the south, the 3 main cities you visit, and then you have Freeside as the player approaches New Vegas. And the last Dropbox location is the LVB, or Las Vegas Boulevard Station. This is the station for the monorail from Camp McCarran, or McCarran Airport, to the New Vegas Strip. And here you can see the location on the minimap. Again, it's on the monorail from Camp McCarran. Also, this is kind of a random encounter, but sometimes there's graffiti on the building, and these 2 Securitrons will shoot the graffiti, trying to remove it. I find it quite humorous. And then inside of the lobby, we can find the last Dropbox. And here you have it, the 5 Dropboxes operated by the Mojave Express. And these Dropboxes were obviously placed in the order in which the player is supposed to complete the game. For example, you start in Goodsprings, then you move on to Primm, you go to Novac, and then you make your way towards New Vegas, and you can enter New Vegas through Freeside or through Camp McCarran. This system allows the player to easily move their loot as they progress through the game. It's actually a pretty cool and kind of creative system to incorporate into the game world. So I have to give Obsidian some props for creating this system. Now, I was doing some research and finding out if players actually use it, and it turns out players do actually use it. Seems like it's used a lot in the early game for players trying to transport their loot. I also found some people saying it adds realism to the game. And for a second I was like, yeah, I guess it kind of does. The Mojave Express is an actual company, and I do have to say that is pretty cool. However, we can send stuff across the Mojave for free, and maybe the courier just gets a lifetime discount to shipping things across the Mojave. But then I was like, wait, there is no weight limit, there is no value limit, so you could really get carried away with this system. And that's exactly what I decided to do. Taking my remaining 33 gold bars from Dead Money, which weighs 1,155 pounds and is worth 350,000 caps, I decided to go ahead and send all of this gold through the Mojave Express. I mean, surely it will arrive to its destination safely, right? Well, let's think about this logically for a second. Completely disregarding the fact that this is over 1,100 pounds of stuff being shipped for free, and it's worth 350,000 caps being shipped to one of the poorest places in the Mojave wasteland, where people would easily steal and rob, there's only 5 possible routes to get this loot from Goodsprings, where I sent it, to Freeside. Option A, you head straight north of Goodsprings and you probably get murdered by cazadors. There's no way you're getting 1,100 pounds of shit through cazador territory. Option B, you cut through Quarry Junction and you get mauled by deathclaws. There's no way you're getting 1,100 pounds of equipment through Quarry Junction. Option C, you cut through Scorpion Gulch, and this option might be possible. Scorpions are killable pretty easily. So if we have a competent courier, they might be able to make it. However, you know, how Fallout NPCs usually fight, we're just going to say he dies. Option D is using Primm Pass, but again, he's going to get mauled by deathclaws, so that's a no-go. And option E is going all the way around the very traditional route. And while this route might be a little bit safer, I mean, there's still some issues with Legion and random encounters with mole rats and, you know, potentially some scorpions and other critters. It is doable, but it's going to take hell of a long time. All of these routes seem highly unlikely with our delivery request, but let's see if it made it. And against all of the odds, somehow, miraculously, our 33 gold bars have arrived safely. I have to say, Mr. House is extremely unlucky. The Mojave Express might be the greatest mail service ever created in human history. Not only does the gold make it safely and quickly, but none of it was stolen in one of the poorest areas in the Mojave wasteland. I have to say, Mr. Mailman, I am very impressed. You are without a doubt the best courier. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Unexplored Mojave. If you have any recommendations for a future video, please post them in the comment section below. And, as always, until next time.